Jason, I mean, what exactly are your expectations on a digital experience for the customer experience?
Yeah, thanks, Ted. So the way that we kind of measure the success of our wireless is we have a lot of sapphire eyes throughout our arena. We also have in our smaller venues, our Beacon Theater, Radio City Music Hall. We'll be putting it in our Chicago Theater as well. We also have it here in our corporate office. So we leverage mainly the sapphire eyes to tell us what it looks like when customers and visitors come into the arenas or the theaters, where the main ingress points are. So you coming in, you open up your phone to your application where it shows your ticket. The ticket people also have their own wireless devices, and they will scan the ticket on your phone. So you need to have, as a customer, as a visitor to the shows, good Wi-Fi experience so that you can get your ticket up on your phone in a quick way, as well as the ticket people need to be on a non-congested SSID so that they can properly scan. And then as you walk through the venue itself, you don't really take off your Wi-Fi. You use your Wi-Fi for calling people or finding your seats or whatever it is that you do. So throughout the entire environment, the wireless experience needs to be as optimized as possible. Certain venues do require you to shut your phones off when you're in the theater seats, but our main arena does not. So if you're sitting there watching a show and you want to get on your phone and take pictures and live stream or whatever it is that you're going to do as a guest of the show, the Wi-Fi needs to handle that. And we use 7SIGNAL I everywhere throughout the arena to gather the experience of, if you're sitting in this section of seats, what is your wireless experience, your download speed, your upload speed, your connectivity, things like that. Are you actually connecting to the closest access point, or because the arena is an open space, are you connecting to something that is way too far away? And we can see that in the 7SIGNAL eyes. We also use the mobile eyes as a troubleshooting tool, much like how Michael was saying how their crew does it. We do it. We have a team out west that we don't have 7SIGNAL eyes in their environment yet, so they leverage more of the mobile eyes. So they walk around and they understand, how the tool works, and they can give us a good experience of, hey, if I'm standing in this area, I'm getting a lot of channel overlap, or I'm getting a lot of high SNR, or I'm finding rogues, things like that. So so from a customer experience, we use the sapphire eyes, and it really does give us a really good visibility of the performance of the wireless in main ingress areas of the theaters, as well as when you're sitting in your seat, what to expect from a wireless way.
Do you do anything different? I'm going to key off on a couple of things that I heard there. Do you do anything different on game day itself that you do on your everyday, or do you consider like I support SaaS cloud-based products, so to me every day is like an emergency day because we want to keep uptime there. I mean, how do you treat game day differently or than other days?
So what we did is we optimized the wireless for game day. So it's always in that state. So when there's nobody in the arena, or there's a smaller event, we don't really tune it back down to be less optimized, if you will, and then tune it back up to be more optimized. We leave it as the most optimized as we can. And as different devices come in, or people with different chipsets on their different phones, they'll have different experiences, as we all know. But for the most part, we go off of what happens when the arena is at full capacity, at 20 to some odd thousand seats full, plus users, workers using the handheld ticket scanners, plus the food and beverage devices that use the wireless to take credit cards on the wireless as well. So at any given time, there can be thousands of devices connected to the wireless at a time, all throughout the campus.
Yeah, and one of the topics we started out with Tony on was IoT. Do you have any concerns of future things going on in the IoT world that are going to affect what you're doing today?
We work kind of closely with our vendors, and when they say, "Hey, we're coming out with a new handheld device, and it needs to be 5 gig, or 5G, or it needs to be whatever it is," there's some pieces of IoT that say, "Hey, we configure our gear that only works on these channels." So I got to then make sure that that doesn't really disrupt my channel plan, because I tried to get, to not have a lot of overlapping cells throughout the environment. But if these people only work well on this channel, and they're on the other side, then I have to, help them out in a way. But that's few and far between. Mainly the feedback from our vendors is that they don't really have a problem with the wireless. They jump on, they get onto their SSID, they have they have the fairly same experience as they do when the arena is empty as when it's full, because we do try to separate that traffic out from guests and vendors and corporate users and things like that.
Yeah. So let's maybe one more item for you, and because kind of round it all out, we talked about rogue devices with Tony and rogue devices with Michael, and when we spoke a few weeks ago, you were a little more animated and colorful about your opinion of what you do with rogue devices. So maybe you could share that with the rest of this audience here a little bit on what your opinion is, and the big staff that you were bragging about as well.
Yes, I don't have a tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. I am tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and it all falls on me. So when I do find rogue devices, I'm not as polite as maybe Michael and his crew are. I go and I find them and I unplug them, and then I leave them on the floor, and that's essentially what I do. So and sometimes I will politely visit the person and say, "Hey, you have a SSID on your phone, you're doing a MiFi or something like that, can you please turn it off?" But what we have found is that there are people who leave their stuff on and don't want to jump on the corporate network for whatever reason, and they just leave their device at their desk and they connect, and they unbeknownst to them, they disrupt the rest of the wireless. So rogues in my world are a little bit more of a hassle than they are maybe in Michael's world. But yes, I am the thrower outer of all rogues that I find.